Welcome back to Dreaming Against the Machine. I'm your host, Adam Becker. Today's guest is an astrophysicist and author and host of a podcast here on Multitude, and is also not me, despite the fact that all those things are also true of me. This is my friend Moiya McTier. She is really fantastic. I've known her for, it must be almost 10 years now. And she is also an expert on mythology. And that's a lot of why I wanted to bring her on the show, because not only did I think we'd have a great conversation, but also our ideas about the future are really tightly connected to the way that we view our past. And that, in turn, is going to be connected to mythology. We talk about a lot of other things, too, but let's get to it. Moiya, welcome to Dreaming Against the Machine.
Thank you. It's a dream to be here.
Oh, thank you. It's great to have you here.
Here.
I mean, this show is partly your fault, in a way.
Your welcome, world.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, everyone should blame you for the wonder that is Dreaming Against the Machine. No, it's partly your fault that we are a proud and happy member of Multitude Productions.
Mm-hmm. That's an influence that I'm happy to have.
What influences aren't you happy to have?
None that I can say on mic here,
Awesome.
probably.
Yes, good. No, making you uncomfortable is exactly what I want to do here on this show.
Can I swear? This is one of those podcasts?
Yes, you are allowed to swear on this podcast. It is one of those podcasts. Yes.
Fucking A. All right, let's go.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I'm the host. That means you have to be able to swear, because I won't say that I swear like a sailor. I swear like a man from New Jersey.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, let me explain to our guests who you are, and then I'm going to get it wrong and you're going to correct me. Moiya is a delightful person who is also an astrophysicist and also has a degree in storytelling, myth-making, mythology.
Yes, folklore and mythology.
Folklore and mythology, yes. And consequently has a tattoo of Orion. This is where, myth making and astronomy come together as constellations, yeah?
Yes, that's one of the places. I also have a moon phase tattoo. There are many myths about that. I have the old alchemical symbols that became the planetary symbols in the solar system. I have that tattooed. There are many around that are hard to see in this camera box, but
yeah,
they're there.
No, I was just saying the ones that I could see here.
Yes.
In any event, yes. So Moiya is also a science communicator and podcast host of Pale Blue Pod, and which is also a member of Multitude Productions, and the author of The Milky Way.
The Milky Way, yes. An autobiography of our galaxy.
Yes. And also the author of the upcoming book,
Mothers of Invention, a history of creativity from the Greek muses.
Yeah.
I hate writing things from my own point of view.
Yeah. But that's a good excuse. Your first book is, you said, an autobiography of the Milky Way, so it's from the perspective of the Milky Way.
Mm-hmm.
And this new book is from the perspective of
the 9 muses from Greek mythology, these goddesses of inspiration who were the children of Zeus and Mnemosyne, the Titaness of memory. And they go around inspiring humanity to invent different pieces of technology, and they wrote about it in their journals. So that's what the book is.
This is fantastic, and also leads me into one of the first things I wanted to talk with you about. We're both physicists. One of the things that physicists do is we parachute into fields that aren't our own and arrogantly say that we know what we're doing in them.
Oh, no. We do.
We do it all the time.
We're like, oh, biology? Let's just take that. It's astrobiology now.
Exactly. Yes. So I want to talk with you a little bit about history. Because, a field that neither of us have any professional qualifications in. But I swear it's going to come back around to mythology and folklore. Because I remember I was talking with you maybe a couple years back about your upcoming book when you were in the early stages of working on it. And you said something that has stuck with me ever since. I know I haven't told you this. So you're on the spot here.
I am.
Again, the whole point of this episode of the podcast is to make Moiya uncomfortable.
Awesome. I'll
Yeah.
give you a measurement of how much I sweat at the end.
Yes. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
we'll invite you back.
Cool.
But yeah, awesome. We're friends. No, you said that genius used to be seen as this sort of impersonal, well, not impersonal, but an external force. People were touched by genius or inspired by genius.
Yeah. Or the genius whispered in their ear.
Exactly. Whereas now we more commonly use the word to describe a person, to say that a person is a genius. And I kept thinking about this while I was in like the later stages of working on my most recent book, More Everything Forever, because one of the sort of subtextual, not really subtextual themes of that book is that I hate the great man theory of history. Yeah.
Very similar. Yeah, the lone genius myth is really just a bridge away from that.
Exactly, yes. And like I've written stuff about how much I don't like the lone genius myth and how it's a complete myth, especially in the sciences. But tell me more about the evolution of this idea, and then we can like, have a conversation about it.
Great. So as I've come to understand it, the
Yeah.
kind of default assumption for how we got our creative ideas was that it was divine in nature, that it came from some external godly force. And around the Enlightenment period, when humanists were trying to put more focus on what we were doing instead of what God was doing, and when the economic turmoil was lifting up the merchant class, and so there was more of a shift in who had power and who could get it, that time period let humans internalize the role of genius so that we not only took on all of the glory that came along with being a genius, but also all of the pressure and responsibility of doing the creative work and sustaining that creative work to be a genius. And I think that that was such a mistake in history, that by putting the human in that very vulnerable position, it opens up the creative to be a victim of abuse in a lot of different ways and a perpetrator of abuse. I know we've seen plenty of examples of this in academia of
really?
people who why did I see a paper by Jeff Marcy the other day?
No, really?
Still!
Are you kidding me?
I'm not 100% serious.
Okay, so for our listeners who don't know, Jeff Marcy was is an astronomer who was also like a notorious like serial sexual abuser and drummed out of the field. And I guess now he's trying to make or apparently not. Now he's trying to make a comeback. This is unacceptable. Please continue. I interrupted you with my outrage.
No, that was appropriate outrage. But examples like that of people who get this genius title, and because of that, they're allowed to do other unspeakable things. And it doesn't matter how much they harm other people's ability to become geniuses in the field, their work is seen as paramount. And that leads to so many issues in society. And I think we really can trace it back to putting that pressure on ourselves and getting rid of the external genius.
This is something that I see as really closely connected to how we think about the future. If we believe in something like a great man theory of history and the lone genius theory of inspiration and artistic and scientific accomplishment, which I see as like just two sides of the same coin, again, parachuting into history and saying that we know what we're talking about. But if you believe in that, then you believe that the future has to be shaped by these, great men, and they're always men somehow.
They're always men.
Yeah, why is that? But yeah, if you believe that, then you believe that you really have to let these powerful dudes in society today do what they want to do and like guide us into the future. And it's very clear when you look at, just to pick a person at random, Elon Musk.
Someone neither of us has ever thought about before.
Oh, yeah, no, neither of us ever think about him. That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
No, and then the issue with lifting people up putting them on this pedestal is that eventually you forget why you put them up there in the first place. So you just start going along with whatever they say. They no longer have to be a genius because now they've reached celebrity status. And that has bled into other aspects of society as well, where we are now treating celebrities like they are geniuses and listening to them in domains that they have no business being in, even less business than we have being in history. Like, I would rather hear you talk about history than hear Nicki Minaj talk about epidemiology. And yet, there are plenty of people out there who, in practice, disagree with us.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I didn't expect us to be talking about Nicki Minaj talking about epidemiology on this episode. I'm
here to make you uncomfortable now.
No, this is great. No, I know about her stuff. It hadn't occurred to me that this was going to come up. This is great. Yes. And yeah, making me uncomfortable. I mean, that's one of the running themes of the entire show is making me uncomfortable. So yeah. Good. But yeah, no, I think that's right. I mean, we treat business leaders like they're geniuses. We treat celebrities of various kinds like they're geniuses, and we don't actually remember that they have no qualifications in the things that they're talking about. Like the trend of CEO said something journalism, and like, yeah, okay, Sam Altman really wants ChatGPT to come up with physics breakthroughs. Sam Altman doesn't know anything about physics. Why should we expect him to have a good idea of, I mean, he also doesn't really know very much about computer science, but
that's true.
Yeah. But let's take this a little bit further into a field where you actually do have expertise.
Hey, I just wrote a whole book. I just wrote a whole history book. We could talk on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, that came out wrong.
We're good.
But, yeah, no, I know. Again, we're making me uncomfortable. That's the real hidden agenda of the entire show. There's a sense in which this is a modern kind of myth making, right? But around real living people. And I'm curious, I mean, I really know very little about the history of mythology and folklore. Yeah, and you've got a huge smile on your face and are like rubbing your hands together in anticipation.
Yeah, doing raccoon hands.
Yes, raccoon hands. Exactly. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, mythology is fascinating because it is truth that we make. And it's truth with a capital T that even if it's not lowercase t true, the fact that so many people believe in it makes it still hold that power over us. There are a lot of different reasons why people make folklore and tell these sacred stories that eventually become myths. Some of it is for fun, of course. Like, we've wanted to be entertained as a species for thousands of years. But a lot of it is a lot more practical. A lot of the, especially foundational myths in creation myths, in myths about the changing of the seasons or anything having to do with nature, those myths were meant to be earlier attempts at the scientific method, really. Like, they're observing the world around them and then figuring out a hypothesis for how it works. And the explanations just happen to have gods or spirits or something. And so you can really look at the myths that people have, the myths that have endured, and get an understanding of what people who told those stories knew about the world around them. But there are other reasons for myth as well. A lot of what's it called? Like social control. You use myths to establish social norms, teach kids that you respect your elders and you don't stray off the path, but also teach adults that if you are too proud and you're too boastful and you put yourself above your station, that something bad is going to come your way. I'm trying to cycle down into a point here. And so one thing that we often see, and that ties back to people being elevated to celebrity or genius status today, is that there would be kings who wanted their legacy to last or wanted to artificially increase their power. And so they would have almost like a propaganda campaign to elevate them to kinghood. Maybe not in their lifetime, but afterwards for sure. We see
Yeah.
this with Shango, the Orisha of thunder in Yoruba religion, who we think was once a human king who was then deified as Shango, the Orisha. Hercules probably wasn't a single individual, but was a person or a class of people who did some heroic deeds, not actually fighting a river monster, but perhaps just like diverting a stream with clever geomechanics and engineering. And so that is often how folklore and mythology get made. It's taking real things that happen and it's exaggerating them and magicifying them until they become larger than life, because those are the types of stories that we remember.
That all makes sense, but I'm wondering about like sort of the modern myth making that we're doing in sort of the same way around some of these celebrities who we give the power of telling us what the future is going to be.
Yes, that's a very particular type of power and influence.
Yeah.
There's a whole branch of tech bro called futurists who claim that
Yes.
they can imagine what is coming. And we've always been obsessed with being able to predict what's coming next. We've loved prophecies, we've loved oracles, we love seers, and so any person with enough influence who comes along and can even demonstrate like a modicum of success with their predictions will, like the opposite of Cassandra, be ballooned to these heights of worship sometimes. Isn't that so sad, though? Like, they don't even
Yes.
have to be right all of the time. Elon Musk is not right most of the time, and yet because he did, like, a couple things that people now know of and like, people will just believe whatever he says, go along with it.
I have so much trouble understanding why people would put someone alive or like any real person on a pedestal like that, and certainly not a billionaire. But there's a lot of things that people do that I don't understand. I mean, in a way, well, actually, okay, no, this is I'm gonna get weird for a second. This is in a way reminding
Mm.
me of the fan fiction that people write about real people. Do you know about this?
Oh, like these parasocial
Yeah.
thing. Yeah,
That's some weird I haven't, like, looked at it, I just know it exists, and it's very weird.
it is.
Yeah.
One thing I argue in my upcoming book, Mothers of Invention, is that part of the reason people are desperate to believe in the celebrity is because of the power vacuum that was left when we moved a little bit away from God, starting in the
Mm.
Enlightenment era.
Mhm. Yeah.
And we still wanted something that we could not just believe in, but rely on. We wanted to be able to put our faith and trust in someone else and say, it's okay, they've got it. And
Mhm.
the geniuses and the celebrities became that. For a while, we were very good at trusting someone's expertise and respecting someone's expertise. And then it's almost like we took that just a little bit too far, where now we trust the person and we don't even test that they have the expertise anymore.
Yeah, although I'm not to say that fake news and, doing your own research and all that hasn't gotten worse recently, but there's always been a lot of misinformation and disinformation out there.
But now it's easier to spread that than ever on the
Yes.
platforms that will pick up not necessarily what's true, but just what will get the biggest reaction.
Yes, indeed. The idea that it's something sort of being done in place of God has me. Oh god, it's putting terrible memes into my head, first of all, right? It's like those youth
Sorry.
pastor memes of like, God was the original influencer. And
Oh, no. It's gonna be in Drewski's next skit.
yeah. Now I don't know what you're talking about, but
You don't know about Drewski?
no.
Drewski is a comedian who does s skits that do end up offending a lot of people, but he had this one where he pretended to be like a mega church pastor, and he was, like, suspended in a harness and giving a sermon, but all parody.
Okay. Like suspended.
Like, on wires above the crowd, like the pastors at mega churches do when they're doing those
Wait, hold on.
out-of-pocket performances.
Pastors at megachurches actually use harnesses?
Adam!
No, I'm sorry. Look, I'm Jewish. I
Oh.
don't know shit about Christians.
No, I know. I'm not upset that you don't know this. I feel bad that I've just opened your mind to a
God.
terrible corner of the human condition. I'm so sorry.
No. Well,
Yes, because these mega churches, their production value is ridiculous.
yeah, I've heard about that. I just didn't know that they
Yeah.
were like making them levitate.
I
That's
have to ascend.
yeah. But no. But isn't that again? I don't know enough about Christianity, but isn't that like blasphemy of some kind? Like I don't know.
Well, apparently you can post yourself as Jesus healing the sick, and it's okay. You just meant to post yourself as a doctor.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know when this podcast is going up, but we're recording this podcast like a day after Trump did that. Oh God. Actually, we're recording this podcast the day that the first episode of this podcast goes live. So
Yay.
welcome to Dreaming Against the Machine. But yeah, yeah, no, I mean, Trump does seem to be getting some backlash against that.
There's got to be a line for some people.
I mean, oh God, now I'm thinking of things that I really can't say on air, but let's stop talking about Donald Trump. But yeah, oh my God, no, telling me things about the human condition that I didn't know about is actually, I think, one of the running themes of this show.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, this time it was Drewski and mega churches.
Yeah, awesome. That's awesome. Now I know things I didn't want to know. Unfortunately, we still live in capitalism, and that means we need to talk about our partners and sponsors. But fortunately, our partners and sponsors are really great. And if you want to support Dreaming Against the Machine directly, you can join us on Patreon, where $5 a month gives you the chance to ask questions of upcoming guests and a dedicated stream of cat pictures. We love our patrons, and we also love Multitude at multitudeshows.com. Multitude is a podcast company made up of passionate people creating shows you can count on. We are one of those shows, and another one of those shows is Pale Blue Pod. Pale Blue Pod is an astronomy podcast for people who are overwhelmed by the universe but want to be its friend. Astrophysicist Dr. Moiya McTier and her best friend Constar demystify space one topic at a time with open eyes, open arms, and open mouths from so much laughing and jaw-dropping. By the end of each episode, the cosmos will feel a little less, too scary, and a lot more, so cool. New episodes every Monday, wherever you listen to podcasts. And here's a word from our sponsors. One of this week's sponsors is Shaker and Spoon, a monthly cocktail and mocktail subscription. Full disclosure, they sent me a free box this month, and I'm excited to try it on a night off soon. Each box includes 3 original recipes from award-winning bartenders, with enough ingredients to make 4 of each of those drinks for at least 12 drinks in total. And each box includes everything you need to make the drink except for the alcohol, and they're built around 1 spirit per box, so you really just need 1 bottle of something that you probably already have on hand if you drink. And if you don't drink, every box includes 0 proof options for every recipe, and some of the drinks are designed to be completely spirit-free from the start. The boxes come with recipe cards that include guidance on mixing techniques and glossary of terms that teach you how to shake, stir, build, and garnish these unusual cocktails with eclectic ingredients. And they also include everything else that you need to try out these drinks, like custom syrups, bitters, extracts, garnishes, and aromatics. And so you can try the drinks without going off and buying full bottles of niche ingredients that you'll never use again. It's a great idea for date nights or hosting a party or bringing a gift to someone else's party. And you can always skip or swap boxes or even just buy individual kits or ingredients without subscribing. So you can try this stuff out at their website, shakerandspoon.com. Going back to this idea of celebrity influence and people being seen as geniuses as a replacement for God. I mean, this goes back to stuff that I talked about in my recent book, More Everything Forever, where I said that even though I don't know very much about Christianity, it certainly seems like the ideas about the future that are common in the tech industry of going to space and living forever really seem like a sort of warmed over version of Christianity.
Ooh.
Yeah. The idea of myths being used as a form of social control. I mean, that actually also goes back to an earlier episode that we did here with Rio Evelith, where we were talking about like who gets to be a futurist.
Mm.
But it also has me thinking about like the role that our ideas about the past and about how the world is play in both, shaping what we think the future can be and also just how we choose to live our lives. Like these myths were and are like these modern myths are ways of like finding sense and order in our lives to, be able to live in a world that feels scary and confusing, right?
Yeah, and before these myths were written down, when it was oral transmission, you could adapt the stories to the needs of the time. And I know that there are some living religious traditions where, like Judaism, for example, where the point is to update it and to stay modern with the interpretation of the lessons in the stories. We don't get that in every mythos, and I think that's really important. We know in science that it's important to go back, revisit, and retest your results. In order to have a sustainable structure, it's important for you to, like, revisit the myths
Yeah.
and the lessons in.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question that is like a running concern of mine that I've asked at least a couple of other guests already on this show. Um, there's a modern myth that I am sort of obsessed with, and I want to understand why it's been so durable. And it is, because this is streaming against the machine, it is an idea about the future.
Mm.
Um, and it's this sort of 1950s American sci-fi vision of what the future is, something plated in chrome with rocket ships and robots. And,
Mm.
this idea that the future is in space, that's like the location of the future, that there's going to be robots, that there's going to be unimaginably advanced technology that lets us go to space and live forever.
Mm.
Some of that is, like I said, has to do with like weird Christian movements, but some of that is like really specific 1950s astounding science fiction stuff. And it's very weird to me how durable that idea has been in the American psyche about like what the future is. To
Mm.
give you, I'm gonna tell you a story, and I'm gonna change the names to protect the not so innocent. There was a podcast that I was on a few months ago, and I'm not gonna say which podcast. Um, but they brought me on, as a bunch of places have recently, to be the guy arguing that space is not the place and that the future is not in space.
Okay.
I, made this case against Mars and against space colonization in general. And the host, who is a, good podcast host, pointed out that they had started this series by asking, like, doing a bunch of like person on the street interviews and asking people, like, hey, if you could move to Mars, would you? And a bunch of people said yes. And,
It's because Earth
and
sucks
yeah, yeah,
because of what we're
yeah,
doing. And then
yeah.
it's not Earth's fault.
Exactly, yeah, but also, I think that they don't have an appreciation of how much Mars sucks.
But that is Mars's fault.
That is Mars's fault, and Mars is a bad place, and it should feel bad. That's true, but I said that to this podcast host, not the part about Mars feeling bad, but, the rest of it, and he said, "But, don't we need it as a first step to, for the day when we find a planet that's, looks a lot like Earth, orbiting a sun a lot like the star, or a lot like the orbiting a star a lot like the sun in some distant galaxy, and we want to go there."
Distant
And
galaxy.
I know. He actually said distant galaxy, and I know. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's, like I said, we're gonna talk about space inevitably. Hey Moya, why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because people really don't understand how precious and special and fine-tuned this pale blue dot of ours really is. They don't
Yeah.
understand how unimaginably far away the nearest Earth analog planet is going to be. They don't understand. A distant galaxy?
Galaxy.
We've
Actually said
barely sent
galaxy.
anything out of our solar system. Are you kidding me? That's crazy.
I know.
But like, I think the reason that this is so appealing to people is because it's exactly the mentality that America has always had and that America was founded on. It's the colonialism mindset. It's the expand into whatever we can possibly expand into and do that using free labor. You know, the robots are just like, we want slavery again. And let's do that with as much extraction and as little sustainability and forethought as possible. It's amazing to me that the future that these people envision is actually just the past, but in a way that makes it harder for there to be a future in that future. Like, they don't envision sustainability. They don't envision cooperation. They just envision take.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising to me that they do that because it's just what they've always done.
No, and I think that that's, like, again, connected to this idea of like the great man of history, the dude striding out of the spaceship across the surface of some other planet, trailed
in some distant galaxy.
Yeah, in some distant galaxy.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
I know.
That's why it's fucking Star Wars teaching people that we need to think about galaxies far, far away.
Well, but also long, long ago. Like, Star Wars is not about the future; it's about the past. It's like
even Star Trek, though. Star Trek stayed within the galaxy. At least it kept it kind of reasonable.
In Star Trek, there was a place that you could go within the galaxy where you'd be too far away to get back in a reasonable amount of time, and then that's the whole plot of the entire show. But like, we actually did an episode, which I guess will have aired by the time this airs, with Chanda Prescott-Weinstein about Star Trek. So yeah,
love.
She might be one of the only people I've ever met who's like unquestionably an even bigger Star Trek fan than I am. But
that's saying a lot.
I mean, yeah. But also, like, have you talked with her about Star Trek? Yeah. Anyway, yeah, no, I mean, and also, like, I can put on my SciComm hat and say, like, this is also people not understanding how far away other stars are, or how far away other galaxies are. Oh my God. Like, the nearest star to our own is what, 4 light years and change, whereas the nearest galaxy to our own is like 2 million light years. Yeah. It's
wild. But in my experience, people mix up solar system and galaxy all the time.
Yeah,
all the time. True. And so even if they did know that space was really big, the jargon trips them up.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. Like, I when I was on this podcast that shall not be named, I did not ding him for saying galaxy. I was just like, we're not leaving the solar system. Because the thing is, even 4 light years is too far.
It's too far for us.
Yeah.
We can't send anything. The only thing we could conceivably send is information back and forth between us and Proxima, and that's not even guaranteed.
Yep. Because, like, what are you going to do? You're going to send a laser? The laser is, like, laser beams expand, they stop being collimated, and yeah.
What you think they're gonna appreciate a little light show? What are they gonna do with that?
I mean, the other thing about Proxima, though, and now we're going in a different direction, back to like how precious this planet is, but like Proxima Centauri, the closest star to our own, is not like the sun. And any planets going around it would have some serious challenges for life, anything like the life that we have on this planet. They'd be tidally locked, with one face always facing toward their star if they were in close enough to have liquid water, because Proxima Centauri is a red dwarf. It's a tiny little star, and most stars are red dwarfs, right?
Yeah, about 75%.
I didn't know the number. I'm glad that you do. I just like, it's most. I don't know. My PhD's in cosmology. I don't know about stars.
I know. I liked the small things, meaning planets and stars and galaxies.
Exactly. Yes.
Things smaller than the universe.
Yeah, exactly. No, if you think that stars and planets are small, then you're an astronomer. And if you think that galaxies are small, maybe point-sized objects, then you're a cosmologist.
You might be a cosmologist if...
Oh, God. No. Why, Moiya? You could have left that in your head. You didn't have to.
I thought the point was to make us uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah. No, exactly. Yes, that's exactly right. I'm going to make you uncomfortable. Except I'm sure that you get this question a lot, but I want to hear you explain it. Why did you study both folklore and astronomy?
The true answer is that I'm very stubborn, and
Mhm.
people told me that I couldn't, and I wanted the free food that both departments would give me often. So I decided to study both.
Okay, that's like a peak grad student answer is what that is.
Yes. I was already thinking like a grad student in college.
Yeah.
The joke answer, Adam,
Yeah.
is that I figured that if there ever was a Stargate program, I would be the perfect combination of Daniel and
Yes!
Sam, and they would have no choice but to put me on a team.
Oh my God.
Yes.
And how much is the joke answer the real answer? Yep. Okay. And now we're making you uncomfortable.
It's like 40% the real answer. Yeah.
Okay. And then the rest
Yeah.
is the free food.
And the rest is the free food. Yeah. And you'll
Yeah.
notice that maybe only like 2% was genuine intellectual interest in space, which is why I don't do research anymore.
Well, neither do I. High five.
Woo.
Now I've completely forgotten what I was going to say next. This is awesome.
My bad.
Yeah. No, clearly, yes. Clearly that's your fault and you should feel bad about it. This is a podcast where we make people feel bad about things.
What a tagline.
Oh,
I feel like you
yeah.
actually could make that and people would hate listen happily. Gleefully.
Yeah, we bring on terrible people like you and make them feel bad about themselves. Justify your existence with Adam Becker.
I would listen to that if you got
Yeah, well,
if you
the problem...
invited Elon on.
Oh, yeah. No, I was about to say the problem with that show is that the people I want to bring on that show are exactly the people who wouldn't come on the show.
Yeah.
In fact, if you, once again, to plug my book, More Everything Forever, if you go to the end of the book, there's a list of people that I interviewed for the book, but then there's a list of people who refused to be interviewed for the book.
That's so petty. I love it.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, the official reason for it was that I knew that people would ask me, but Adam, how could you dare to say what Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or Sam Altman is saying about the world without asking them if that's what they believe? And like, look, I tried and they wouldn't talk to me. But also in my heart, the real reason was that I'm petty. And in the same way that the true name of the book is not More Everything Forever, it's These Fucking People.
Yes.
Yeah.
The secret name that you don't tell the fairies.
Yeah, that's right.
It is.
Exactly. It's like the Le Guin, like true names have power name. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, oh, wait. So there's a question for you. Where does that trope come from?
Oh, the true name having power over you?
Yeah.
I don't know an exact origin, but it definitely is really prevalent in fairy folklore, so Celtic folklore, general like European folklore with fairy spirits. I think there's also some Christianity stuff in there where if the devil has your real name, then he has influence over you. But names have been really powerful things for a long time. And just wrapped up in superstition. But I don't know the exact root of it. And now I'm gonna need to go on a big hunt later for that information.
Yeah. No, you're gonna need to go on a quest.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then bring it back to justify your existence with Adam Becker. Yeah.
Okay,
No,
it comes full circle.
Yeah. No, if I did that show, you would have to co-host it with me. I feel like we can
do. I can be the mean one.
Oh no, I think we'd have to tag team on who was mean, right? Oh God. Anyway, this is a very strange episode of this podcast, but it's an early episode, so we're still figuring out what it is.
I'm the guinea pig.
Oh yeah, definitely. This is just a delight talking with you about this stuff. This is so much fun, and I'm really looking forward to your new book coming out. I'm excited to read it.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I'm excited to share it with the world, but also nervous because, I'm not a historian. And so I definitely felt a lot of imposter thoughts throughout this entire process because I was like, who am I to write this book? And originally I wanted it to be more fictional. So it's more about the muses and their lives. And then the history takes kind of a backseat, but that didn't end up happening. So it's just me, an astrophysicist, writing a history book.
So we got to talk about this for a minute, though, because the imposter syndrome thing is real. I suffer with it too, and I think that maybe we can actually help people here for a minute if we talk about this,
Yeah.
because I think that it's important to point out that we all suffer from imposter syndrome, and that if you don't suffer from some form of imposter syndrome, you're probably Elon Musk. And or someone like that. I have had so many people say so many nice things to me about both of my books, especially the new book. And I was suffering from world-class soul-crushing imposter syndrome when I was writing it. Because,
Really?
oh yeah, no, I was writing this thing and I was thinking, oh my God, this is a job for a tech journalist. I'm not a tech journalist. I'm a science journalist. I'm barely even a journalist. I have a PhD in physics. How did I become a writer for a living? I have no formal training in journalism or writing. Now I'm writing books. What the fuck am I doing with that? My first book was about physics. This one isn't really about physics. What am I doing? Oh yeah. Also, I'm covering all of these academic areas that I don't have any real training in. This is a book that should be written by an anthropologist or a sociologist or a historian. And then it was fine.
Okay. And then it was fine. And your cortisol levels are back to normal? Baseline for
They're
you?
definitely lower than they were.
Okay.
Sometimes it still feels like the drama knob has been super glued at 11,
Yeah.
but which is not where I want it to be. But
You want that riding around 6.
right,
Decent 5 to 6.
I don't even know if I want. I'd be fine with 3 or 4, honestly.
I'm nosy. I need the tea.
I mean, oh no. This is why we have to start the podcast of justifying other people's existence. I want other people's drama knobs at 5 or 6. That's
Yes.
fine. I
Yes.
just don't need mine there. It's been stuck at 11 for long enough.
Good point.
Anyway, I think that is as good a place of closing out this podcast as we're going to get to.
I will say for the imposter stuff,
Yeah.
I too recently talked to Chanda Prescott-Weinstein. And we talked about something similar to this. And the advice that she gave me that really helped was she said that she knows that she grew as a writer in her second book. And so I'm focusing more on that. I know that I grew as a writer. And so I'm just shifting what success for this book means as opposed to what success for my first book meant.
That's so interesting. I also feel like I grew as a writer when I was writing my second book. And in a lot of ways, it was because it was outside of this area of my expertise. And that was terrifying. And I was working without a net. But then it was fine. And I'm actually happy with it. And I feel like more talking about redefining success, I'm realizing that the thing that I am terrified of more than bad reviews, more than people telling me that they don't like it, more than hate mail or abuse online or anything, is that I won't like my work.
Yeah.
And no, I think that is where we're going to end it.
Okay.
And because you got to go, right?
Yes. There's a park hang.
Wait, what? You have to go because of what?
There's a park hang because it's nice in New York. And so people are playing games and coloring and reading in the park.
Oh, man.
Oh,
I got to come back to New York.
You do. Yeah. It's where the things are happening.
It's true. Yeah. As opposed to here in the Bay where the only things that happen are bad things.
No.
No, I'm fine. I'm good. I'll be back in New York soon enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also there are plenty of nice things here in the Bay. It's just that there's a tech monoculture and I hate it. And that's Dreaming Against the Machine.
And that's book number 3.
Yes. Oh, God, no. Book number 3, whatever it is not going to be about people I hate. I promised myself it's going to be about
Good.
something I like.
Good.
Anyway, Moiya, thank you for coming on to Dreaming Against the Machine, and we'll have to have you back sometime soon.
Thanks for letting me ramble to you about mythology and storytelling.
That's why I wanted you on here.
Great. Had a blast.
Thanks again to this week's guest, Moiya McTier. Next week, we've got historian Susanna Glickman. She and I had a great conversation where we talked about the sort of 1950s rocket ships and chrome style of the future and why that's been such a persistent vision in the American psyche. It was a great conversation. To submit questions for future guests and to suggest other guests and to see more pictures of Babka, join the conversation on Patreon. You can also find us on YouTube, on Instagram at DATMpod, on the web and on Blue Sky at dreamingagainstthemachine.com, or just find us wherever you get your podcasts. Dreaming Against the Machine is a proud member of Multitude Productions. Our executive producer is Nick Carissimi. Our associate producer is Rosie Thomas. Our theme music is by Jared Emerson Johnson. Our show logo is by Nick James. And our fearless leader is Babka, the greatest cat in the observable universe. I'm Adam Becker, and I'll see you next week.